I've been married to John for 35 years. He was very much a family man. He used to read a lot, had a keen interest in lots and lots of things: science, business, politics, sport. He liked to travel, he liked to see new places. In May 2009, John fell downstairs. He banged his head, seemed very unwell, so we took him to A&E. And they checked him over there, but they didn't perform a scan. An elderly man, he'd banged his head, he was on blood thinning medication. They sent him home. We returned there again because he felt unwell. Again, they didn't scan him. And he had a routine MRI scan that was routinely booked from a previous stroke that picked up the bleed that led to the situation that John is in. He is totally dependent upon me or a carer or a member of our family, and his life has been devastated. The hospital hadn't performed the scans and the tests that they should have on John, and that they really had been negligent. I think we realised that fairly soon, although there were other priorities at the time, getting John home and so forth. When John was home, no physiotherapy available, there had to be a way to help him and to get that, and that's why we pursued the claim. We looked into solicitors who dealt with clinical negligence. We saw Leigh's name, and our daughter recognised the name and knew that they had a good reputation because she works in a human rights organisation, and so we decided to contact Leigh. Henry Dyson, the solicitor, came to our house. He explained the process that we were going to go through. He explained that it's a long process, one that you have to be patient. He said that we needed to make a statement, which we did, and we would send it to them. And all in all, it was a fairly easy, straightforward process. Henry was very sympathetic, very approachable, very understanding of the situation, and he made us feel comfortable about going through this process. I never at any stage felt he was the solicitor and I was the client.
I remember that Margaret was very, very brave, and she did an enormous amount for her husband John, who was very, very badly disabled. I think there's nothing that she wouldn't do for him. What was special about that case is the severity of John's injuries. He had sadly no awareness that we could prove, and his care need was total. I think people often talk about 24/7 care needs, but that was a genuine 24/7 care need.
I suppose, you are a bit in awe of the legal system, but if somebody can speak to you on your level and explain the situation, I think that makes you feel more comfortable with it and less daunting. I think that Leigh and Henry in particular, and Ellen, his assistant, were really approachable. They picked up the phone. Every time I phoned, they answered. They knew all the facts. When we were discussing something, they didn't have to go and refer to their files. They had it all off pat, and it was like we were their only clients. And obviously they have other cases, but everything was there. They were efficient. The process, legal process, was settled after about 2 years. The trust admitted liability. Henry phoned me to tell me.
Well, it was very, very satisfying to be able to help the Baker family, so that they could afford the sort of care that would give Mr. Baker the best quality of life that was possible in very tragic circumstances.
It made a huge difference to John's life. The main reason is that he was able to go into a stroke rehabilitation unit in a specialist hospital in London, and he was able to be weaned off of his tracheostomy, so now he breathes normally. He can also take small amounts of food, so it's changed his life enormously. He now has a much more suitable bed, a bespoke wheelchair just moulded around him, and we have carers when and as we want them, night or day. Furthermore, it allows us to have a larger house with more ground floor space and a wet room for John, so that rather than the way we've been carrying on with washing John in a bed, he now has the ability to, or will have soon, the ability to go into his wet room and have a shower. So his life has changed enormously. I would like to think that changes would be made, that somebody going to that hospital, or any hospital, in a similar situation to John, would be treated far more carefully, would have more tests done, and this would bring about a change in the system. Without the help that we have had from Leigh Day, and without this settlement, we would have been carrying on now the way we were before, with the children filling in as carers, possibly still going back and forth to hospital. It would have been a small nightmare. So this has been absolutely wonderful and amazing, and I can't thank Leigh Day enough, and Henry in particular.